Hi, everybody. Mermaid Haley Laura here. This is finally the um, questions video for 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, so really excited to have you guys here with me, and I got some good questions. And oh, this is a wonderful start. I'm so shy talking on camera, but bear with me here. I will smooth out. Um, so yeah, happy 1,000 subscribers. Never thought I'd get this far, and yeah, pretty wild. So let's get started. Okay, so let's see. First question, which is one I actually got from multiple people, is what makeup products do I use? Um, Specifically eyeshadow. I got that one a lot. So, um, yeah, we can get started with that. That one might take a while, so we'll get the big one out of the way. Um, so I've got my makeup products here with me, and let's see. Um, so I usually start out with a primer. Sometimes I forget, to be honest. I'm not a makeup artist. First of all, I am actually, for someone who likes to draw, it's kind of surprising. I am terrible with makeup, so bad. So, yeah, actually, maybe coming up here, I might have a friend of mine do my makeup for me just to see what she can do. Um, but yeah, but the one good thing about underwater photography is, or underwater or performing in general, is that you can be a little bit messy. And in fact, you want to be kind of loud with your makeup, be a bit clownish, because the water ends up distorting things. So, yay for me. So, if I'm a little messy, no one's going to know. Yeah, it's kind of like stage work makeup where it gets washed out, so you kind of want to be a bit loud. So, yeah. So, anyways, just to get that out of the way, a little tip for you: you don't have to be subtle. Unless if you're going for a supernatural look, which I do sometimes. There's days where I don't wear any makeup at all, or maybe I'll just throw on a little mascara because my eyelashes are so blonde that they're hard to see. So, yeah, so sometimes I'll just throw on mascara and then I go. But but if we're talking like a full on glam or feeling extra artsy, then yeah, we'll get started. So I'll start off with a primer. Lately, I've been using the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. That seems to work. Again, sometimes I forget, to be honest, but I do notice it does feel nice and smooth on my face, so I think it works well. And then sometimes I use the Tarte, I think it's like the Amazon Clay um, foundation with SPF. I don't have it with me now, but I do have the other one that I use. If I want to look cooler, is this e.l.f. Camo CC cream. So cheap stuff, but it's SPF 30, and I don't know, it seems to stay put. So again, I don't use this all the time. Sometimes I just go with sunscreen. So, um, darn, my sunscreen is in the car right now. I'll provide a link to it below. It's one that is safe for like coral reefs and stuff like that. So, I try to get stuff like that because I want to reduce my impact on the environment to the best of my ability. Um, but yeah, so we'll keep trucking along here. So eyeshadows, that was a big question, and I'm going to be in the same boat as most people because the ones that I use, I think, have been discontinued. So it's so worn, so you can't even see what it is anymore. It's was the Tarte long-lasting eyeshadow pots, specifically, oddly, the holiday colors, were really pretty, and they're not there anymore. And they stayed on even without the extra thing that I'm going to show you in a minute. Like, these were great, so now I'm going to have to find something new. But yeah, so pretty. Um, yeah, so the other thing, that kind of goes with like the eyeshadow, as this stuff I only discovered this year, which is surprising. This stuff makes things stay. And it claims to turn eyeshadows into like eyeliner and stuff like that. And it's hard to see because it's clear. It's the Inglot duraline. I don't know. Probably can't see that. I don't know if I'm helping at all. But again, I'll provide a link to it. So yeah, if that didn't help you at all, I'm sorry. Um, but this, if you mix it with some eyeshadow, it turns it into like a more of like a wet eyeliner consistency, and it stays put. It doesn't go anywhere. It's great. I love it. Um, Maybe I can do a little test on my hand for you. Hold on. So a little bit of that, a little bit of this stuff that I just happen to have on hand. And you can do this with it because I've used this actually with some of my other eyeshadows. Like, I like some shadows that I use on a regular um, are the Honeybee Gardens Renaissance palette, as well as the Kindness palette I really love. I've even used it on those, which are just like typical, not technically long lasting shadows, and it still worked. So, but yeah, so that's after mixing the duraline, and this will stay on as long as I'm not rubbing my eyes. It'll stay on. So, a little trick for you. I hope that helps. The other stuff that I found stays on fairly well. I haven't used it in a pool or anything, but I did use it in salt water, and it stayed on for the most part. And I also used it in my river video. Is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Shadow Pencil. So I got the purple one here, but I actually don't really use the purple one. In fact, the one I use is all out. Um, the one that I use is the like sky blue or turquoise one. I like to put it under my eyes because it really, I feel like it makes my eyes pop, and because of the color, it looks super mermaidy and matches certain sections of my tail. So I'll have to get that soon. But sometimes I like to put that actually on the bottom of my eye. But yeah, that's the kind of hard to see. But that's the purple, which I actually don't use all that often, obviously, because I still have it. So um, stays on pretty well. I have good luck with that. We'll move on. Keep going with the eyes. This has been I took me a long time to find a mascara that worked for me. And again, with all this stuff, what works for me might not work for you. I have pretty dry skin. I don't have oily skin. I struggle on the other end. My skin is pretty dry, and yeah, and fine lines and things like that. Um, so if you have like really oily skin or like redness and patches and things like that, that's something I don't really struggle with. So I mean, give it a shot. Maybe it'll work for you. I'm just saying that, this is what works for me, and hopefully it'll work for you. So let's see. This is I used the Tarte Man Eater waterproof formula for a long time, and I'll still say that works fairly well. I would get a little bit of smudge, but not too bad. That's probably the second best that I've used. This stuff, though, I came across this stuff is it's Eyeko London Beach Waterproof Mascara. Um, I don't know. So, yeah. So this stuff works. This stuff stays put and doesn't go anywhere. The one thing I'll say is I don't use this like on a daily. I don't use this for everyday stuff because it does have a tendency to clump. However, underwater, it works really well. It again stays put, and you don't notice any clumping when you're under the water. So yeah, this stuff has been great. Um, yeah, so next we'll keep cruising. I feel like we're moving pretty good. So um, lip product. I've got a few here for you. Um, so I've used these with pretty good success. Is the NYX long lasting lingerie push up. So I've got a couple colors of these, and these work really well. Um, yeah, really happy with this. I wish they came in more of a variety. Most of them are kind of like, um, I have like a reddish one and then this kind of like mauvey purple one, cooler one. And then another one, sometimes I mix too. Another one that I use is the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks. Um, these work great as well. So, um, yeah, try out either if you prefer more of like a crayon, or if you prefer, liquid. It's up to you. I'll show you. Um, minus the eyeshadow I did before, but yeah. So both of these work pretty well, I would say. So hopefully you have good luck with that. Another trick that I like to do with lipsticks, occasionally, not all the time, is sometimes I like to put just like a little bit of eyeshadow right here, and it creates like this really magical shimmer. So, and sometimes you can add like an extra cool color. Like I said, at least the colors that I have of this are a little bit more on the not as flashy side, which is great for stuff. Like sometimes I like a more natural look, or a more darker look. But if I want to shimmer it up for a little bit, then I just like a little touch of shimmer. Sometimes a little bit of gold or a little bit of aqua. So, and that makes it look really mermaidy. So, um, then, oh, oh, um, another lip product I'm super excited about. Not necessarily for mermaiding, but I have to I have to throw it out there is I've got three of them now. Is the and I can't wait. Next dry gig, I intend to wear these. I don't know if these will work underwater. It doesn't say that they're waterproof, so probably not. But you never know. I might try it and see what happens. But these are, like vegan and cruelty free, and I love that. Um, I try most of my stuff. I try to look for like little bunny symbol. Um, yeah, but this stuff is made by an equestrian YouTuber. So for all you horse nerds out there, if you want to support a farm that, I don't know, I really like her training practices, and I also just happen to really like the product, so I'm going to share about it. Is these little lipsticks are so fun, so pretty. They're so saturated, but they're buildable. Like if you want lighter color, then like I have the Piaf Plum on right now, and it just looks like it looks natural and a little bit of shimmer. But if I were to build it, you'd see a lot of the purple. Um, yeah, these are so pretty and they feel nice. And this isn't like sponsored. She doesn't know me at all. I just happened to um, fall upon her channel like, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and decided to try these. And I like her train. Maybe I should try the other hand. So but yeah, I haven't tested these, so take that with a grain of salt as far as underwater, because again, they're not, it doesn't say that they're waterproof. Um, but definitely next dry gig, I am wearing one of these because they're comfortable and they're pretty and they stay on throughout the day pretty well. I may have to reapply part way through, but again, they don't feel. Um, so yeah, those are the colors I have right now. So that's the plum. Fingernails dirty, gross. So the plum is the top. Bay Girl, which is like a warm reddish orange, and then Mustang Mauve, which is that kind of like pinky color. Lighting's not the best either, so apologize about that as well. um, so my bangs are crazy too. They're at this point where I don't know whether I want to grow them out, turn them into curtain bangs, or cut them short again. So they're at this like length where I don't know, I don't know what to do with them. So if they get a bit wild, I apologize. They're that really bizarre. I don't know what to. I don't even know. I don't own a hair dryer. I don't style. Yeah, so yeah, you get my hair in its al natural state right now. Um, so that covers everything for makeup, other than one last thing. I highly recommend, especially if you're going to be in the water for a long time. I don't use it again all the time, but if I'm going to be in the water for a long time, or if I'm actually going to do like a photo shoot, is a setting spray. I have really good luck with the Urban Decay All Nighter. It's a bit dirty from being in my travel bag, so but um, well used, well loved. I also really like. I also really like Green Marble, which was I've had good luck with that too. It was recommended by Brett Stanley, who is, I'm sure most of my followers probably know, is a um, famous underwater photographer. He's very talented. So that was one of the things he recommended. And yeah, so that and or the Urban Decay All Nighter is what I've used. So all right, so we'll move on to that was a really long one, but I had a lot of people ask that. So I hope this helps, and we'll move on to the next question. Okay. Okay. Um, oh, and so speaking of hair, the next question actually was, how do you attach a wig if you use one? I have no clue. So I can't help you there. I've never used a wig in my life. I've never even dyed my hair. Again, I'm very bad. Even though it's kind of strange, I love to dress in costumes and things like that. I'm bad at makeup, bad at styling. Yeah. So, I've played with the idea of using a wig, especially like in the winter time. My hair gets really dry and brittle, and I lose a lot in the winter. Um, so I've like kind of played with the idea of getting a wig, or extensions, but I've never gotten around to it. So, yeah, can't really help you there, but maybe I can point you in the right direction. So, two mermaids that I follow that have helped me tremendously with all the information that they put out online, as well as one of them actually has a couple books. If you're interested, is Raina the Halifax Mermaid. I'll link her YouTube channel. She has a whole playlist of So You Want to Be a Mermaid vlogs, and I'm pretty sure she covers wigs and extensions and things like that. So, and then the other mermaid, that might have information on this as well is the Magic Crafter. I'll link her video or link her YouTube channel as well. So, Yeah, she wears this big, like, silvery white wig. Her persona is Mermaid Phantom, and when she's swimming in the water with that wig, she looks like an ethereal phantom. So, yeah, um, both of them have experience wearing wigs. She does a lot of videos, and Raina the Halifax Mermaid. I've seen some gorgeous underwater photos of her with these long like wigs, all decorated with like seaweed. So yeah, so she like wears headdresses and things like that too underwater. So they might be able to help you more. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unfortunately answer it, but hopefully I pointed you in the right direction. All right, next question. So this next question, is advice for MERS who only have themselves and a 4 foot deep pool? That is an excellent question. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that as far as like, are you looking for underwater modeling tips, practice? Because you can still absolutely practice in 4 foot deep of water. In fact, um, modeling is harder in shallow water than it is. So if you're practicing in shallower water, then and your goal is to do underwater modeling, then you might be pretty well on your way to doing really well. It's just because you're more floaty at the surface, so it's extra hard to sink. That's why it's so hard to pose in shallow water. Um, yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of curious if you want to clarify the question more, you can message me and then maybe we can troubleshoot and see what we come up with for some answers. But if you're looking for like videos and stuff and you're all by yourself, I'm fortunate that my fiance, um, he follows me with the GoPro, and then that that actually is another question for later on. But um, as far as buyers, if I had a GoPro and I wanted to do videos and I was by myself, I would probably find a way to set up the GoPro. I've seen other mermaids like actually get cool silhouette shots by having it face up and them swimming over it. Or maybe you could place it like if there's a little ladder in there or something, you could place it and then have you swim by. Um, or if you got like a selfie stick, you could do like that cool, like, you know, literally taking swimming shots of you with a selfie. You can get the tail in the background flapping and stuff and your hair's going, and yeah, so that's what I would do for a video. And then as far as like trying to pose in that shallow water, you would have to play around and practice with releasing some of your breath in order to sink. So you won't be able to stay down as long as you would with a full breath of air, but maybe long enough to get a couple of shots. So, like if I were to hold my breath and fill up lungs and then, just kind of releasing some of my air, half or a quarter, play around. Everyone's floatiness, sinkiness is different. But usually, if I just want to get below the surface, then I only need to do a quarter or half, depending. Salt water, obviously, more because you're more buoyant in salt. But in a pool, um, probably you probably wouldn't need too much to sink. But again, everyone's different. So another thing that might help that I personally have never used is some mermaids. I mean, I've used weight belts free diving and scuba diving, but it, I've never worn one with my tail. So, a lot of mermaids make like weight belts to help them sink with, um, oh, my phone's going. Hold on a minute. Sorry. So sorry about that. Weight belts. I've never used one with my tail. Some mermaids like make them pretty and put like make them look like shells or whatever. So I've seen that. Um, Always practice with a buddy though. It does make me a little bit nervous. Swimming in a tail with a weight belt, but other mermaids have done it. So never. I mean, you should never swim alone. That's like the number one rule. You should never swim alone, especially in a mermaid tail get go, and then especially with weights. So, yeah, it might be something to look into. Maybe I can find some posts about it and link it below. Um, I just don't have any experience with that, but I do have lots of experience as far as like playing around with breath holds and releasing your breath in order to sink and stuff like that. So, that is probably where I would start. So before getting into weights, yeah, you don't need you don't always need to do a ton of breath, um, in order to sink below the surface. Um, but yeah, yeah. As far as breath holds go, I like to like breathe up for 2 minutes, just breathing normally. Maybe I'll take like a long breath here or there, like um, go from my belly up to my chest or my chest down to my belly, depending on what I feel like. Just kind of like, and then breathe normal. I'll do like a big breath like that every now and then. Or for like 2 minutes, I'll just kind of breathe normal and be in a relaxed state. Another way to relax with breath is I really like alternate nostril breathing. So super relaxing. And then after practicing with that for like 2 minutes, then try holding your breath and maybe do it like two or three times in a row. Don't overdo it by any means because you don't want to stress yourself out. But like you might find that you'll get better and better um, each time as far as holding your breath. Like maybe you can hold your breath for like 30 seconds and then do your 2 minute breathe up, then try holding your breath again. Then you might get 35 or 40 seconds. And then do your 2 minute recovery breath. And then maybe you'll get 45 or maybe even 50. So um, you might find you get better and better. But again, I wouldn't like overdo it because I feel like the most important thing about that is having fun. So if you make things too serious, then and you not have fun and then you end up stressing about it and then you won't be able to stay under it longer. So you kind of want to be in like this super zen meditative state when you're holding your breath and especially underwater because then you kind of slow down your movements and dancer's hands and stuff like that. So um if you're stressing about it, you make it all floppy and angry or something. I don't know. So yeah, important to just be relaxed and have fun with it and dance. So um, that comes with like more of the posing side of it. And stamina, one thing that has helped me with stamina is because I know mermaiding in general is quite the core exercise as well as kind of full body. So um, I do work out fairly regularly. I by no means go to the gym heavily. I'm not ripped, but I do move my body. I like to go for walks. I like to hike. Um, I work out at home. I do like strength training, cardio, and lots of stretching and yoga, Pilates. I mix it up so it doesn't get boring for me. And the number one thing that has helped me with mermaiding specifically is belly dancing. I've been practicing belly dancing for several years now. I by no means am good, but it has helped me tremendously with my grace. It has helped me because I'm not naturally a graceful person. It has helped me tremendously with my posture. It's made me think about where I'm putting my arms, which sometimes I still forget. I am human. Sometimes I even see my videos. Sometimes I'm like, ah, like my hands look like this. So, which isn't like the most mermaidy. When I think mermaids, I think fluidity and, you know, so strolls and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, so belly dance has helped. It's helped strengthen that part of my body. I can even show you some exercises that kind of helped me as well in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few exercises that have helped strengthen that part of my body. Um, and it's super interesting too, because, about the isolation. Um, so I'm going to expand here. And I can still breathe. I'm still breathing right now. I'm talking to you. Might feel a little bit funny at first. I don't have a waist, but I can still move like this, and I'm still breathing. It's super interesting. So um, now I'm going to close it. You can see I have a waist now. I can still breathe too. Might be a little bit restrictive, but I'm still breathing, still moving. This is something I learned from one of my belly dancing teachers. I'll post her or post about her as well. And I can still move. And doing stuff like this has helped a lot. So, um, yeah, just and obviously one of the major belly dancing moves is the belly roll and or the body wave, which I can kind of show you. So a lot of people like kick from their knees. Obviously, there's always going to be some knee action, but what you really want, you kind of want to start from the chest, or even in some cases, you can even start from your head and get kind of sneaky with it. But, so chest, back, you can see my hips. Sorry, my scarf's in the way. Um, okay, so kind of see it's a lot of hip movement, kind of pushing forward. Unblock your wave. So, is basically how I would practice that. And you could even practice, I like practicing a body wave in a plank or in a downward dog position. That is really great for your core and is good full body. When you can kind of get your spine and belly and hips to make this kind of movement. Yeah. Uh, so those are all things that have helped with my stamina. So, all right, next. Okay. So next question. I have gotten this one actually a couple of times. Same question from a couple different people. Is what I use for gear, and I already talked about this before. As I use just a GoPro Hero 9. That's all I use for my videos. Yeah. I've got some goals coming up in the next maybe few years. Of getting an actual like camera and maybe some underwater housing and stuff like that. But I'm working with what I got, and what I have right now is a GoPro Hero 9, and it goes with me almost every time I go swimming. Even if I'm not doing a video, sometimes I'll take it for practice and things like that. So like I'm going to the pool tomorrow, there's a chance I may bring it with me. Not necessarily to make a video, but just for practice. So yeah. Um, that was an easy one. As far as other gear I use, is I actually have two mounts for it is I have like a little double handheld, and then I have the one that actually is from GoPro itself is the like the little floaty stick, which is really convenient. So yeah. Next question. Okay. So the other question I got is what I least like about being a mermaid. There's only a couple things, and one is I hate being cold. I get cold so easily. Um, doesn't take long for me to start shaking like a little chihuahua. My friend calls me Shaky Chihuahua actually when we go swimming. Um, yeah, so I I have zero tolerance in the cold. It takes it right out of me, and when I do get cold, I can't stay down as long. So what I do for that is I try to keep moving first, and if that doesn't work, then I find I need to like take a break and warm up in the sun. Maybe even have a snack. So, because mermaiding also makes me really hungry. Um, One tradition which I kind of want to adopt is on my first photo shoot. The photographer that I went with, she was so sweet. Maybe because she knew it was going to be cold and knew we were going to be in the water for a long time. She brought tea, like hot tea and cookies. So I think anytime I know I'm going to be cold, like if I'm swimming in the rivers of New Hampshire, which are really cold, mountain rivers are cold, or if I'm swimming in the ocean, the New England Ocean, not necessarily like off of Cozumel, but New England, it's cold. So I bring hot tea and cookies now if I need to take a break and warm up. It's important to like know your body and know that you need to get out. So yeah, there's some days where I could swim all day long and have no issues, but if I start to get cold, then um, I need to pay attention. So, um, and take breaks when needed. So, yeah, getting cold. The other part is, oh, maybe, um, I mean, I, mm, maybe I shouldn't complain about this because, like, I'm fortunate I live in a place where I can save and get, you know, the tail of my dreams right here and be able to do the things that I do. So I am fortunate, don't get me wrong. But the one of the downgrades of living in Maine is I can only like my passion is swimming in wild waters. I love swimming in lakes. I love swimming in oceans. I love swimming in rivers. And I love taking you guys with those adventures with me just because I also, like I love to hike. I love walking around cities. I love being in the forest or on a mountain or underwater. I love being outside and I love sharing that passion with you. Being in Maine, I only, especially for the water, like the mermaiding stuff, we only get like 3, maybe 4 months to do that. A lot of mermaids struggle with that too. Obviously, I'm not the only one. And then in the wintertime, it's all pool, which I don't film much in the pool. I don't go to the pool much. I don't swim near as much in the winter. Yeah, but I try to get in some pool work just at least for practice. So, that is probably one thing I don't like, and that's nothing really anybody can help. It's just for the matter. M- Seasons. I love the seasons and then I hate the seasons at the same time. Or I wish summer could be just a little bit longer because I do like winter too. There's magic in winter. I love the fall as well. Fall is gorgeous. But if summer could just be extended a little bit longer, that'd be great for people who love the sun and the sand and the water. So, all right, next question. question is, sorry, I'm reading it. Um, oh, hold on. Okay. So when facing up and having water flood, sorry, facing up and having water flood your nasal sinus cavities, does salt water feel different than freshwater pool water? That's an excellent question. So one of my favorite poses, you've seen it in multiple of my videos, is um, sometimes you can get a really cool reflection shot is, laying back like this or something like that. And you get it's really, really beautiful and graceful, and you get water right up your nose. And it's kind of funny because when you come to the surface, then it all drains out of your nose, and you feel very unmermaidy. The glamour of mermaiding. But yeah, so salt water doesn't really bother me as far as my nasal cavities are concerned. I've only ever done it like, is it only once or twice, I think, in salt water. So take that with a grain of salt, because grain of salt. Take take that as you will, because salinity is different in different places. Some water is saltier than others, but at least in the times I've done it, I've noticed little to no difference between the salt and the fresh water. Salt water does make my eyes really red though, so I probably wouldn't do like a kid's party at the ocean because that would probably be scary. A red-eyed mermaid. um, so yeah, usually I'll have to like put in soothing eye drops or something after. So irritates my eyes, not so much my sinuses. Maybe the next day, but that's true with fresh water. I'll get the sniffles, allergies and things like that from having water go up my nose, but it doesn't usually bother me till the next day. Um, One water that I like never do that is, or very rarely, unless if it's like a really gentle, is the pool. I think I've done it only once in a pool that I knew that was like really, really gentle. If it's heavily chlorinated or has like a lot of chemicals, or if there's a lot of people that go there, you don't do it. Because um, I can get irritated really easily in the pool. In fact, like a year ago, I went to a pool and it was so chemically that I actually had a bad reaction. Like my face turned like red as a lobster. So yeah, there's no way I'd be doing that. So pool water is what bothers me more than salt or fresh for sure. So in the pool, I pretty much never do that. In fact, when I'm practicing in a pool that isn't like more gentle or that I don't know well, is I'll plug my nose. It's not very mermaidy, but if I'm just doing it for practice, I'd rather save myself, right? So, um, yeah, if I'm doing like practicing bubble rings or something like that, I'll plug my nose when I'm in the pool. So, yeah, save save that for swimming in the wild water. So, yeah, excellent question though. That's one I didn't even think of myself. So, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Mm. Okay, so next question was where I got my top, specifically my seashell top. Well, my seashell top, I have um, this one here, my tried and true. It's well used. Um, this baby here, I made it. I didn't buy it. I got these shells from Michaels, as well as a little pendant in the middle. And I used iridescent acrylic paints and like a protective coating sprayed over it, and it's held up pretty well. I even washed it once in the dryer by accident, and I did get some chipping from that, um, but it doesn't bother me, and you don't notice it in the videos. So, um, yeah, you can tell the leaves are a bit worn, so I need to kind of touch up. This is my favorite bra. It's the first one I ever made. It's so comfy. So, and it's so pretty. Um, yeah, I actually followed the tutorial for the Magic Crafter on making this, so I can link that video below. My stars, and I didn't obviously make these, and then I'm actually working on some new tops right now, so stay tuned. I can't wait to show them off. Hopefully they come out good. I don't know. I'm playing around with some new ideas. But yeah, so that was a question I got um, a little while ago. So thank you for thinking that that I bought it somewhere because I didn't. I just made it and I followed a tutorial on YouTube. So I'll link the video below. Um, Getting to the nitty gritty here, getting down to the end. Next question is what got me started? So I know some mermaids might have to practice more than others, but I've been a fish my whole life. I've always swam dolphin kick and I've always been under the water more than above the water. So mermaiding just came really naturally to me. I Yeah, I always remember the time I was swimming at this lake and there's this father and daughter there and I was swimming and I came up to like this log half up half out of the water, but and then I immediately went back down under again. I was down for like a long time and there's a little girl and she thought I was a mermaid and this was years ago before I even got a mermaid tail. I wasn't swimming in a mermaid tail, but she actually thought I was a mermaid. She's like, "Dad, is that a mermaid?" So I think that means it was meant to be, right? That a little girl thought I was a mermaid before I even became one. So yeah, that was really fun. But in all honesty, what got me started is ever since I was young, I've been a nature lover. I love nature. I was always in the woods or in the water. I'm fortunate to live in a place that has lots of lakes. So when I was a little bit older, I biked in the summertime to the lake all the time to go swimming. Or coming home from my teenage job, coming home from work, I would stop at the lake and go for a dip and then swim, and then ride my bike the rest of the way home. Or I was always in the woods. So I love nature. I watched a heck of a lot of nature documentaries and wild thornberries. I used to want to be like a wildlife filmmaker or a paleontologist or something like that. So super into that, super into wildlife, super into, the outdoors. Well, one day I was watching a nature documentary on whales and again, always been a fish naturally. Um, I was watching a documentary on whales and I just said to myself, I wish I had gills. I wish I could just swim with them. I wish I could just be under the surface because there's something magical for me. I know for some people being underwater, it makes sense. Being underwater can be claustrophobic, but for me, it's freeing. I feel zen for the most part underwater. I can swim up, down, sideways, this way and that. I can truly fly. So it's freeing for me. And I love watching the light, how mesmerizing the light shines through the waters when you get those rays. It's so beautiful. It's like heaven. So I was watching this whale documentary and it was so beautiful to look at. The animals are graceful, the lighting was beautiful, the blue, it was so pretty. And I just wanted to be underwater. And I was like, I just want to be a mermaid. That's just what I would want to be a mermaid. So I was like, I wonder if like mermaid costumes or stuff like that is a thing. So, because I was thinking maybe I'll try like gluing, like putting my fins together, my bifins together, and maybe try making a mermaid tail out of that. I looked it up and I found, and maybe if I can find the picture, I'll show you below. There's three things that I found right off the bat. First picture I saw was this model in a mertailor tail. And it was so beautiful. It took my breath away. I was like, and back in the day, because this was years ago, I've been wanting to be a mermaid for like 10 years, or more. So it took me a really long time to get to this point. It took me a long time to save. It was kind of like that scene from Up where they had to keep breaking the jar for, mundane things like the car, and they never, unfortunately, they never went to their dream vacation. But yeah, it was kind of like that. Life gets in the way. It just happens. And at one point, I almost thought about just giving up and moving on, but eventually I had enough and I just said, let's do it. So I did, and I'm happy I did. Um, Getting off subject though. Yeah, so I saw, and it was a beautiful picture of this model, and back in the day, it looked so real. Still is a beautiful picture if I can find it. Um, yeah. And then I saw videos of Hannah Fraser, and I was like, oh my goodness, this woman is like living my dream. She's swimming with these wild animals in these wild places. I love that. It's like I even have I don't know where they are, but I do have like drawings I did in like the fifth and sixth grade of like one is of and back in the day nobody really knew what manta rays were. Um so like when I was in fifth and sixth grade, I have a watercolor I did of manta rays. It's not that great, but yeah, it's always been in my soul. And I have another, just a pencil sketch of me. It was like a self-portrait of me, scuba diving with whale sharks, um, that I did in like the fifth or sixth grade. So when I saw this woman, like I was like, oh my God, that's me. She looks like my drawings. She looks like how I feel inside is the best way I can. It was so beautiful. It brought me to tears. So she's been a major inspiration. And I love that she's an advocate for wildlife conservation. I wish I could think of a way to use my persona for that, but I still haven't found one yet. Um, the most I can do is the most I've done in the past is clean up the beach, obviously, wherever I go. If I see trash, I pick it up. Um, I mean, I've done volunteer work um, on multiple occasions, but never for ocean specific things. So my volunteer work has been more people and animal related and less about the environment. I would like to move into like environmental um, conservation work. But I need to do more research on that. So, and it would be fun to be able to like get my tail involved. Obviously, it's not a necessity, but um, it'd be kind of cool because you can be a mermaid for the oceans without having a tail. So, um, yeah. And then the third one was Merbella's. I saw pictures of Merbella's tails like 10 years ago, and I watched their early springs videos like 1,000 times, and I thought that was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. So originally, when I was looking for mermaid tails, I was like, Merbella's, that's the one. And I was originally gonna get like this super in my head, this super realistic, fishy looking tail. And even with like the dorsal fin, because I also really like the mohawk, like small mohawk looking dorsal fins, kind of like a zebra's mane or like the H2O tails. You know how they have like a little short dorsal fin that goes all the way down. I like that quite a bit. So um that's what I was originally going to go with, but well, by the time I was finally able to get a mermaid tail like 3 years ago, I they had they were on like a 2 year wait list. Um, which I get because it's just they're so popular now and it's like a two-person team. So totally understand. But I'm not getting any younger and I had the money now. So I was like, I, yeah, so I looked around and then I discovered Mernation. Her turnaround time was much, much quicker. But I had to come up with a new design because she didn't do like the more realistic, like super realistic fishy tails. which is fine. I like the um I really like whimsical and fantasy as well. That's why mermaiding is so great for me because it's like the marriage of my two passions. So, um, yeah, like my favorite movie series is Lord of the Rings. So I love fantasy and I love anything ethereal. So, instead of going with something more realistic, I went with something magical, like super magical. And this, like the leafy green ends, kind of remind me of like a dryad or something. So yeah, I feel like my tail looks really super whimsical, super ethereal. So when it goes in the water, especially if because it does have some color shifting pigments in it. Um, like when I go to Salmon Point for some reason, I don't know what it is about the golden lighting in that lake, but you can really see it shift from blue to green in that lake in particular. Um, so yeah, super magical. And the colors I got inspired for ooh, sorry, they command a lot of space. The colors are inspired by a couple different things. Um, yeah. Um, so they're all my favorite colors. I love like golds and bronzes and sunsets, but I also love purple because purple I feel like is like the ultimate fantasy color. Um, and then I love blues and greens because I love nature. So, yeah, so it transitions from blue to green. That I really, really love. And it's got like the little gold details. Some of them are a little bit more bronzy, but it's hard to see here. Or in certain lights like this little bit right here. It's like kind of a pale gold right now in this lighting, but sometimes in certain lighting, it looks um really almost bronzy. So yeah, inspo was from my own drawings. I can share those a bit later, as well as I sent her a bunch of pictures. You might laugh, but I sent her pictures from the video game Spyro, um, specifically the world uh, Dark Hollow. I love the lighting in that game. It's like nighttime, so you've got the dark blues and the stars, and then you've got the green from the grass and the trees, and then you've got the purple library shelves with the warm glow of the candles. So it looks kind of like Van Gogh's, like the cafe or Starry Night or something, those kind of colors. I love the cool and the warm tones coming together. So, and then I also sent her pictures from the Disney movie Tangled. Again, kind of like that scene with the lanterns on the water. So I don't know if you could kind of get that, but she captured it like perfectly. So, um, yeah, just those are like my all-time favorite colors. So, yeah. So those are some a long description of all the things that brought me to this point. All right. So, last little bit is to go with the inspiration thing is um I think my dad might actually have some of the drawings that I did when I was a kid of me swimming with like manta rays. If I ever come across them again, I'll like post it on Instagram because it'd be really cool. Um, that's just like a core memory that popped in my mind. Yeah, so but as far as inspo, I don't mind sharing some of my these aren't like particularly good doodles. I was just playing around with ideas. So um Like, I was just, these aren't like doodles or anything, but I think she did a pretty good job. Like, this was just me kind of like playing around after I came up with the design. Oh, the one thing that I did different, because I did her custom line. So one thing that's different with mine than her others of this nature, like my friend has the same tail, but hers has the original fluke design. The only thing that's different about mine is I do have the V cut right here. Kind of see where my hand is. Um, this tail doesn't typically come with that, but I asked her to because to me it makes my leafy ends look that much more leafy and water nymphy. And that's just what I think of when I think of mermaids. So I forgot to mention that. The other thing I forgot to mention is that to go along with the whole Spyro thing is my dorsal fin is loosely inspired by that plucky little dragon character. So, um, hold on. Uh, hmm. These tails, man, they're so heavy and they require a lot of space, command a lot of space. So, yeah, gonna see. Loosely inspired by that. Okay, so to continue with pictures, um, again, I was kind of like playing with ideas. You can see like wanted something that like complemented my hair in the water too. So kind of see um just some of the. I was just playing with colors. Like these aren't like actual um drawings or anything. Just like little simple sketches. But originally, this is an old one. Again, I've been wanting to be a mermaid for a very long time. This is originally what I was thinking. Again, I've always been attracted to these colors, so that says something. But there's no purple in this. But this is what I was thinking of when I was going to get leaning towards a Merbellas. I still love Merbellas as well, but it's a little bit more. You can see it's got like her dragon scales, and the fluke is a little bit more fishy. And with the spots, I feel like it makes it a little more fishy. You can kind of see here as well, like the little, um, the little, like the short, teeny little mono, the dorsal. So, um, yeah. Again, this I did years ago, trying to come up with inspiration. So, um, but yeah. So, um, those are some pictures that I sent to Erin from Mer Nation, and she did a fantastic job. I love this thing. I still love this thing. Years later, it is like a dream come true. Um, I'll never forget. I was so happy when I opened it, and I'm still just as happy to this day just looking at it. So it's so pretty. And yeah, she captured everything about my designs. So super whimsical, super happy. Yeah. Last thing I'd like to mention before we close out this 1,000 subscribers Q&A, as first time really being on like in front of the camera like this and having a chatty video like this is like potential future goals. Like you saw, these aren't like crazy good artworks like this I did, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I don't know. Um, I do enjoy drawing. I do like drawing mermaids and fantasy and stuff like that. I created coloring pages for some of the gigs I've done over the summer. And I think they came out really cute, especially for me, kind of like rushing at the last minute. So I was thinking of maybe coming up with like a coloring book. I don't know if any of you would be interested in that. I also, with that, I did on some of them, I did like little facts about the ocean. So I thought that might be a good idea. Let me know if you're interested in like a coloring book or potentially doing like custom pictures of mersonas. If anyone would be interested in like watercolors or just straight up like black and white ink, or sketches in general. Um, but yeah. Okay, well, I think that completes my video. So, thank you for joining me on this journey. Now you know a little bit or quite a bit more about me. Um, Hopefully for other mermaids out there, I shared something that could be beneficial or helpful. Um, or if not, steered you in the right direction. Um, don't expect like a lot of these because these kinds of videos are hard for me personally. I'm not the best at talking on camera. It makes me a little nervous. So, I know crazy for someone who swims around in a mermaid tail. I'm still really shy in front of the camera when I don't have my tail on. But um, yeah, so um, thank you for joining me on this adventure. I love adventures and I love sharing them with you, and I'm glad that everyone has been swimming with me. Yeah, so I don't really do this as like a business or anything, so I apologize like about my upload schedule and stuff like that, which is non-existent. I upload when I feel like it or when I get around to it, because I do live a pretty busy, mundane life as well. I go to work just like everybody else, and I have other hobbies too. As much as I love mermaiding, it's definitely a passion for sure. But I but it's not like my job like it is for some other people. So, um it's for fun and I want to keep it that way. So, um yeah, so really, really, really excited. And I'm excited for future adventures. I've got some coming up potentially. So can't wait to take you on those as well as, continue swimming in waters around New England. I like sharing some of my wild home here. So yeah, happy 1,000 subscribers. Yay. Thank you all. Have a good day and suspicious.